Okay, so the last type of variable is a control variable. So remember, control variables are items that we don't want to have changing so that they don't have an impact on our experiment. Remember, the whole point is to see if different grass is going to affect the milk produced. So you can have actually a whole bunch of different control variables. So I just have two written down here, but we can look at some other ones. So the amount of time that the cows are given to graze. So meaning the cows, right? Obviously they're eating the grass. You have to give them the same amount of time to eat. We can't have one group of cows eating for 3 hours and one group of cows eating for half an hour. The amount of water each cow drinks also has to be kept about the same. The reason why is because milk, obviously for the cows, in order to produce milk, it's mostly water. And of course, the nutrients come from the food that they eat. So if you give cows, one group of cows more water than the other, they might make more milk just because of the water and not from the grass. A few other things. You can look at you want to make sure that you milk them for the same amount of time. Right? Right? So you milk them for the same amount of time. You want to make sure maybe you have the same number of cows in each test group. Maybe you have 10 cows eating grass A, 10 cows eating grass B, 10 cows eating grass C. You want to make sure you have the same number. Also, the same type of cow, same species of cow. You don't want some cows being, let's say, Jersey cows and some being, I don't actually know another type of cow, but there are many different species of cows, trust me. So when you're looking at this, you want to make sure you have all the control variables that you possibly can. So usually when you're looking at an experiment, there are many that can be discussed. So what I'd like you to do now, we have an example here. So you're going to create an experiment trying to test out if the amount of sunlight will impact or affect the growth of the plant. So we want the independent variable, the dependent variable, and give at least 2 different control variables. So remember, there could be many that you can discuss there. I'd like you to try and give at least 2 examples. So pause the video and give this a try. Okay, so for the independent variable, this is what you are trying to change. So this is going to be the amount of light, of sunlight, right? So we want to know if that's what's going to impact the growth. So of course, the dependent variable, what we're going to be measuring is the growth of the plant. Okay, now control variables, you can have a bunch of different control variables. I'm just going to list few of the most common ones. So for example, you want to have the same type of plant. Plants grow at different rates naturally. So you can't have one cactus and one sunflower. They have to be the same type of plant. You want to make sure that the amount of water is the same. Right? So the amount of water that you're giving both plants should be the same. You also want to make sure that you have the same type of soil, right? The soil has to be the same. So there are many different factors here, right? These are kind of the main ones that are mentioned typically. So the amount of water, the type of soil, and the type of plant are very common. Also, the time of day that you measure the growth, the time of day, making sure that you are also being consistent for the same. Let's say you want to do it over a span of 2 weeks. You want to make sure you're measuring both plants at the same time every 2 weeks. It depends on, there are many different factors there that you can look at. But basically, it's something you want to keep the same, even though really what you're looking at is sunlight and, of course, growth of the plant. So the dependent and independent variables. Everything else should try to be the same.